What's going on, everybody? It's another episode of Podcast2MyLife. This is number 5. I'm Anthony DeRosa, alongside here with Vince Patula, Dale Roloff, the Kevin Vanderveer, and today we're going to talk about everybody's favorite topic, conspiracies. I think everybody loves to hear and talk about a good conspiracy theory every once in a while. I think they're good for the mind. It's good to think out and about like that. Just don't think normally for one bit and just think about anything that could happen. Because guess what? Anything can happen in this world.
Exactly.
And we live in a world right now where we don't really know if we're being told the truth or not.
Mhm.
Who the fuck knows?
Misinformation.
Exactly.
We're floating on a rock in the fucking middle of space right now. Who knows if anything
What
is
is
real?
that?
This could really be the Truman Show. Have you guys ever seen the Truman Show?
I have not.
No.
Go and watch the Truman Show. It's pretty much like everything. It's like Jim Carrey, and his life is a TV show, and everything is a camera, and like his life is like the TV show.
Oh, okay.
And then like it's like the most popular show in the world, and he
Interesting.
doesn't like really know about it. And then when he gets older, he starts like suspecting like more and more shit, and then he
That's
finally
nuts.
it's an
That's
awesome
crazy,
movie.
bro.
That's a
It's
conspiracy.
It's one of
Yeah,
it's for
that's
free on
crazy.
YouTube. I know that.
Yeah, I was just actually on my way here today to come film this. I was just looking up at the sky, and it was like just a weird time of night because it was like that. It was the evening time, like go into dark, like from light, and dude, the clouds just looked so fucking fake, and I don't know why, dude.
They
like,
looked awesome today.
Does that look like? Do clouds look fake to you guys?
You want to know something?
Once in a
Today,
while.
before I got here, like right before I pulled up to Dale's house, I was looking at like the skies, and I noticed that too. I was like, holy shit! Like it is like a really nice night out. Like the skies were like really nice, and then I just saw a plane flying by, like one of the clouds, and I was like, we really like do that shit.
Like,
that's
that's so
crazy.
s-
I
that's
was
so
like, that's fucking
crazy.
awesome. Like I want to become a pilot, bro. Fuck it.
Oh, okay.
Dude, that's
pretty hard.
That's really hard.
Yeah, maybe one day. When I'm a famous podcaster, I'll just do whatever.
Go to flight
ludicrous
school
shit.
for a little bit.
License?
You could go to flight school and then come home, do your podcast for an hour or whatever.
Yeah, and then look up conspiracies for another hour before I go to bed.
I think everybody at some point has been on YouTube and just looked up conspiracy
Mhm.
theories. Like
100%.
there's certain stuff you look up on YouTube, and that's like one of the main ones for me.
Every major event or thing that ever happened in our world, people say didn't happen, and that's a conspiracy theory. There are people who believe the Holocaust don't happen. There are people who believe the moon landing don't happen. There are people
didn't.
didn't
Every
happen.
Yeah.
every historic
Yeah.
event has conspiracy behind it.
You're saying don't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, like I've read something about that. There's like 200 years of time that actually didn't happen, and we're actually in like the 1700s right now.
Oh, that's
because
cool.
this guy like did the date so he could be like the king when it was like the year 1000.
Even time is just a conspiracy on Earth because when did we just started
It's a
time?
made-up thing.
I guess time started. I think it's something to do with religion actually because I'm pretty sure it's like when the
yeah,
Bible started or like
BC.
the New
It's
Testament or
before
whatever.
Christ,
Yeah,
and AD
yeah.
is
So I guess that's when the
You know,
time
there's
started.
there's no
but,
year zero. There never has been a year zero.
What did it start out as? I don't even know,
It
like
must have
1,000 or
started
some
out
shit.
as one. No, literally one.
one.
Yeah.
2,
Okay.
3.
Well, I get
That's crazy,
you
bro.
should start at 0, but
Yes.
whatever.
I
All
don't
right,
know. Let's get into some.
it. Yep.
Yeah, let's get into some.
All right, so I got 2, but the first one's really quick. So I was looking for conspiracy theories, and I stumbled upon this video of Stevie Wonder. And it's like, is Stevie Wonder really blind? And I'm like,
What?
This guy's fucking like 60 years old. Why the fuck would he be faking it? And it's a
Yeah,
video.
what?
Dale will pop it up in the corner, but
Right
it's a video of Paul McCartney singing and him running by Stevie Wonder. He knocks over the microphone. And Stevie Wonder just like fucking Odell Beckham, like Spider-Man, just
What the
grabs
fuck?
it,
Crazy.
grabs it, and then like acts like he didn't grab it, and he's like, "Oh,
Oh,
shit!" And
shit.
he's like, "Hold
That
on."
just fell in my
Yeah,
arm.
So then
Yeah.
this guy like picks it up for him, but like if you watch the video, it's real quick, and he just hits it, and then ever so slightly he turns as soon as it falls and grabs it.
That's
Like,
crazy because if you think about it, anytime you're in a pressure situation or something like that, instincts just kick
That's
in
right,
when
it's
you're
an
looking.
instinct, yeah.
Yeah, that's just, and I don't think you would have those instincts if you're blind, right?
Yeah,
Well,
it
some
depends
peop-
what like because so once you're blind, every other sense you have
It's heightened.
Heightened.
gets
That's what I was about to
so
say.
he could have heard it, but at the same time. Like you gotta
Oh.
watch how quick he reacts.
He does
like,
react really quick to it.
and like how loud it was for him to hear the mic get hit and know
That
where
is
it
true.
was
Paul
falling.
McCartney is singing.
We
it
still
while
have to
he's doing
think about, dude, faking being blind for 60 years.
No, there's no point. Like he's got to be insane if he like if
Yeah.
it'd be the like,
Longest running
bro,
joke.
Like imagine, yeah, that's what I was saying. Like imagine, like right before he dies, he's like, "Gotcha," and just pulls off his glasses. Like
that would be so good.
That's
Yo,
like that'd be like better than any Nelk Boys
That-
prank ever.
That
dude.
that would be the best joke of all time.
yeah,
No, literally.
The
No,
best joke.
you couldn't beat it unless you fake being blind, like Helen Keller if she came out.
Nah,
Oh my
the only
God.
thing,
Oh
no, the
I
only
don't-
thing better
Helen
than that,
Keller isn't even real, bro.
Another conspiracy.
The only
That's
thing-
a conspiracy.
the only thing better than that is faking your own death.
Oh, that is true, dude.
Oh, there's shit ton of conspiracy theories on them, but they're like kind of boring because everyone's just like,
Usually gets
Show
called
up
too.
to
he's in
your
Costa Rica,
own-
He's in Guam, fucking.
Yeah,
Show up to your own funeral that's like closed casket. Got you all. Fuck you all. Got it.
Now you gotta
That'd be
you have
fun.
to you have to Undertaker sit up from the casket,
Yeah.
Hello.
stand back up.
Ah, everybody starts screaming, running out.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Zombie! Zombie!
All right, so I'm gonna get into my first one. So if you watched the movie Godzilla vs Kong recently, which just came out on HBO Max, it's all right, action packed, but they dive into the center of the universe, right? And Godzilla's like spitting fire down there. It's weird, but there's like creatures down there. It's like really beautiful forests and stuff.
Is this on Earth?
Yeah, this
Okay.
is on Earth, but
Okay.
it's the
Like back in
hollow-
time?
It's in the
No,
core.
it's now. It's
Oh.
the hollow Earth. So there's a theory that the Earth
The
on the
hollow
inside is hollow. There's a bunch of theories on it. So it starts with so like religion, right? You think about these are like the more basic ones. Like Christians believe in hell, like so that's technically underground. Everyone's
is
like
true,
hell's
okay.
underneath. There's another couple ones that like just believe the underworld's down there. Like if you watch Dante's
Yeah, like Greek mythology.
Yeah, Greek.
Yes, okay.
Romans.
But then, so there's the Buddhist, and they believe the place is called Agartha, and it's an inner world habited by an advanced race of like these people.
Do they look like us or you don't know?
They don't say, but like I think no, they're better than us.
Okay.
They're
And then-
advanced, right?
Yeah, they're like more advanced. I don't know what.
I wonder
they
if
mean
they're primates still.
technologically. Yeah, like
Or they AI.
AI, I imagine.
But all right, so in 2014, June 13th, 2014, scientists announced that they found a vast body of water underground 3 times the volume of all of our oceans combined.
No way.
Which goes against everything we thought about the core because we thought it was solid, and then once you get to the middle, it's the molten.
And it's
like,
water, right?
That's
Yeah.
so scary because we don't even know like what's in our ocean
Yeah.
compared to even more. Like,
yeah, so
That's
going with
insane.
that,
I never knew that.
we know more about the Earth or the moon's surface than we do
About Earth.
the inside of Earth, which
That is
is
fucking
nuts
crazy,
because
bro.
it's right below us.
Wow.
And that's however far fucking the moon is, like, that's just
Maybe
nuts.
so maybe the key to like like the afterlife or I don't know, just like the key to all the biggest questions in human civilization are on Earth. We just have to go down instead of trying to go into the universe.
All right, so I got these crazy ones. There's one on here that I'm really excited to say because I think you'll like it. It's got to do with aliens.
Cool.
So I skipped these 2 guys; they're pretty boring. But Dale knows about Admiral Richard Byrd.
yes, sir.
1947, he used to do Renaissance over the North Pole.
Okay.
And in Antarctica.
Yeah, well, that's later on.
Yeah,
That's
later.
So he had a private journal. He reported that he would drive around or whatever, and he saw this mysterious, lush green lands, beautiful green lands in the North Pole. He would come back and he'd be like, that's not supposed to be
It's
there.
physically
Yeah, it's supposed to be
impossible,
fucking
physically
snow and
impossible,
like icebergs.
Yeah,
which
so
is
he
crazy.
called
That's
it
crazy.
the Great Unknown. 3 years later, he started doing Renaissance over the South Pole. He discovered an entrance into a hollow Earth,
No way.
and he said he went down
He flew
there.
his plane into
Yeah,
it.
flew his
How do
plane
you
in there.
how the
What?
fuck do you
'Cause
fly
it's
your
a
plane
tunnel.
into it?
It's like
It's-
a tunnel. If
yeah.
you ever watch like Journey to the Center of the Earth, it's literally like a tunnel.
And he
and
flew through.
Flew through it.
Dude.
And
He
he
claims
drew
it.
he drew it into like I'll pop the picture up right here. He drew like what he saw inside.
Yeah.
And like he made a map of
Wow.
how like
Was it
it's-
what did he see inside?
I didn't really write it down. Do you know?
it's just a bunch of like So basically, his picture, I'll pop up right here so everyone can see it. But it's it just explains how like there's tunnels that go out through here, and they pop up in like our surface.
So
and that's how like things can and go.
Come and go. So, did he see any other creatures
said-
in there?
I think he did.
I think he saw creatures like beings that he can't explain, and he also saw, like Kevin said, like lush green, like just droves of this inside of the earth, which is you flew in from the South
wait,
Pole.
so when he flew into the tunnel, he was seeing lush green like fields and
trees
grass,
and fields,
and then there were other tunnels while he was going through that he could escape out of if he
I don't
wanted to
think
go
you
back to
can-
Earth. Maybe.
yeah.
It's like
You
one
can't-
way in and one way out.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so then he returned, right? He returned to Washington D.C. and they questioned him. They
Okay.
questioned him about it because he's releasing all this
Yeah, he
information,
was saying
all this
everything.
stuff.
Holy shit.
And they told him,
Hey there, buddy.
yeah.
Calm it down there.
And so then they questioned him, and then they told him like, shut up, like stop talking.
Wow.
So like either that's
He
not
had
might be
true
on to
or,
something.
Yeah,
He
that
had
he was
to,
like
or
a
they'd
revered
kill him,
admiral,
dude.
like in World War II. Like he was high, like
But if you think about it, dude, the government is basically just one fucking big party pooper, dude. They always try to kill the fucking cool shit.
Well, honestly,
right?
if there was,
Try to keep everything low key.
and after watching the video I watched, the guy was like, listen, if you're thinking about saving up all your money and going to the North Pole, it's probably not true. Because so this ties into it. So they believe the entrance is in the North Pole. And there's also a theory that there's a second entrance hidden in the Himalayan mountains.
Why in the Himalayan mountains?
That's just what they think. I
The
couldn't
Himalayas
tell you,
are
honestly.
cool.
But, all right, here's what I'm excited. So, ready? There's another theory about the hollow earth. So, aliens, right? They're not from space. They come from the hollow earth. They fly out of their... That's why UFOs
Bro.
disappear like that, ready? They go to from the hollow earth, and they patrol... and there's a reason why they patrol. They patrol because this is their earth, right? And they think we're messing it up. They're a more advanced civilization. So they're keeping control of us, and we're doing all this like fossil fuels, all that.
They
and
could be
they're-
doing like
Nuclear fucking
experiments.
war and
yeah,
shit.
and they're trying to stop a nuclear war from happening. They're like little things suddenly, like that's why you see them here and there. That's the theory on it, which is nuts.
Whoa.
That is cool because I know in a lot of UFO like sightings, a lot of times they'll be hovering like really high over water and they'll shoot right down into the water and disappear.
Exactly.
A lot of people say I remember when those UFO archive
Yep.
came
Oh,
out
yeah.
from the FBI, I think it was.
yeah, it was the FBI. They released them.
Where the U.S. government apparently released like every single government ever regarding a UFO, and I remember when that like came out, I spent like days just reading that shit, and I read like some stuff that like somebody just like really can't make up, and I don't know why. And it would be crazy if the U.S. government is going this far that they're just making up a crazy story like that, but. One of the biggest things I kept on seeing through like a lot of them is it's like a quick beam of light, like a vertical beam of light that just goes like kind of quick. Like they see a big light and then it just goes like just vertically
It
up and
vanishes.
down and just vanishes and it's gone like that. So maybe they're just shooting
From inside the
instead of-
Earth.
instead of going to outer space. They're just going into
Which would be
space.
nuts.
I mean,
But-
in
and
the Earth.
So backtracking on that, so there's two more stories I got of people that visit the Hollow Earth. So a Norwegian sailor, Olaf Janssen, sailed into the entrance of the Hollow Earth with his father in 1811 and claims that it contains a city of Eden, 12-foot people who do not get sick.
Wow.
See, I also
So
heard, like,
heaven.
giants from that.
So heaven,
They're all
so
12
that's what they
foot.
think. They think the heaven is
like switched.
so it's not heaven
Reversed.
above, it's heaven below.
Oh.
And then this is the last thing, wrap it up. Carl Unger, German sailor, in 1943, he was on the U-boat expedition to the South Pole and claims to have entered the Hollow Earth through underwater passage. Then
Wow.
the crew was welcomed by an advanced civilization called the Rainbow Island.
The Rainbow Island. Do you know any more about them?
That's all they said.
That's insane though.
But just like if there is account, because multiple accounts, and I mean some people are just fucking nuts, but
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
shit's cool if it's real.
You know how we were saying like the heaven and hells might be switched?
Yeah.
Well, what if like I don't know. What if that's why Earth is the only planet with life on it, because heaven like sprouts it up or some shit and like it brings life to Earth, and that's the only way we're fucking
Like Earth is kind of like the center of the universe, like
Mhm.
kind of.
yeah, you know how like a plant will grow from Earth or whatever.
Yeah.
So like the heaven inside of Earth is growing everything on the outside.
life and
yeah,
all this.
giving
Yeah.
out,
What
giving
if
off
when
all
you-
this life.
What if when you're in the hollow earth and you die, you become a plant?
That would be
Dude.
crazy.
Like,
and then
so
you
like-
grow out of the
Yeah,
earth.
because if you die on Earth, you go in the hollow Earth because you get buried.
Yeah.
So you go into the hollow Earth, and then your soul is reborn in the hollow Earth, and then once you die there, you sprout as a plant.
That's
Ooh.
fucking crazy to think
But why,
about.
why a plant?
Just because
Because plants grow from the ground.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
because that's
guess,
the only thing
yeah.
I could think of. But
That
like,
is true. It could be anything, I guess, that comes
you could just
from
make
Earth.
shit up.
Yeah.
Honestly,
That's
like,
true.
it's
This
just
is so
nuts.
fucking crazy, dude.
Alright.
That was an awesome conspiracy. I've never heard that ever.
Dale
in my
put
life.
me on. Dale put
The
me on.
hollow
conspiracy
Earth.
Yeah,
theory.
I just remember reading
I'm
about
gonna
Admiral
I'm gonna
Byrd.
look
It's pretty
that up a
crazy.
little bit
Yeah.
more.
I'll post some
after
pictures of Admiral Byrd up here in his like airplane and shit too, so you can see that. It's pretty
Does
cool.
he look anything like me?
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding.
That would be cool.
He's a distant
We're fucking
relative.
twins.
I guess I'll step up because I think Dale.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
Dale.
third.
Dale called third.
Right in the middle.
Third story, but
What a guy.
So I got a story of this dude named Bob Lazar. I don't know if many people might have heard of him. He's got a movie on Netflix. If you want to check it out,
Oh, yeah.
I highly suggest it. It's really fucking good. And basically, he started off. He was like this nuclear physicist, and he works at this famous lab called Los Alamos in New Mexico. It's like one of the it's like a highly guarded national security lab. All this shit. Like they do a bunch of fucking crazy classified testing there. And he was going there one day, and when he went back to the lab, he met this dude who was, they call him the what do they call him? They call him the father of the hydrogen bomb, and it's Edward Teller. I guess he
okay.
created the hydrogen
Yeah.
bomb, I would
Uh-huh.
assume. And I don't know if anyone can hear
The
these
gr-
technical
was-
difficulties.
The
but
ground's shaking.
Is it the people from the Hollow Earth?
The ground's literally
No, like
shaking.
that was literally like a.
Did you
that's
feel
like
the ground
It
shake?
feels like vibration.
Was
Yeah.
that an earthquake? Did we just have an earthquake, bro?
I don't think so.
Dude,
I
but
don't
that
think
was
so.
weird because like it
No, the
vibrated through
ground
the
was
mic.
shaking, and then I started hearing the noise. That's why I was fucking confused.
Yeah, all right, so back from our earthquake, I have no idea what the fuck happened there. So the father of
Who
the
knows,
hydrogen
bro?
bomb, Edward Teller, meets this dude, Bob Lazar, outside of Los Alamos, and they just chop it up. They're talking, and the reason they start talking is because earlier, I think it was actually that day, Bob Lazar was in the newspaper for Los Alamos because he built this Honda Civic rocket ship, basically.
Oh shit.
And what he did was there's like a rocket on the back of it, and it's a Honda Civic, and it can go up to like fucking 200 miles per hour and just
Holy
fucking
shit.
flies, dude. And basically, he goes up. Edward Teller's reading the paper, all this shit, and they spark up a conversation. They get to know each other, and they have a fucking. I guess they hit it off, and they have a good conversation because years later, the conversation ends. Years later, Bob Lazar leaves Los Alamos. He goes to Nevada, Las Vegas. He goes to Las Vegas,
Ooh, I like
Nevada.
where it's going.
So we're getting into some fucking. You know what happens in the desert.
Yeah.
Especially in Nevada.
Whatever they want to happen.
And as he was moving, he was kind of looking for a job. He was in and out of work. He was trying to find something in the science field, but he couldn't really find something that was suiting him because he didn't like the work he was doing at Los Alamos. And so he's sending resumes to people. So he sends one to Edward Teller. He receives it, and Edward Teller gives him a reference. Bob Lazar receives a letter from requesting an interview from, I forget, I don't think they really named the company. I think it might have been like E&G or some shit. But don't quote me on that. I'm not positive about that. And he receives a letter, and he has to go to the airport in Las Vegas for multiple interviews. So he's like interviewing at the airport for some reason. All right. So nobody knows why. They said it was a job for advanced propulsion systems. That's what he was working on. So, because he was a nuclear physicist, so
Yeah.
he works with all that type of science shit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he ends up getting the job, and once he gets the job, he gets informed with these briefings of what he's actually going to be working on now. Because he basically took a job. He knew he was going to do advanced propulsions or whatever, but he didn't know like what he was going to work on.
What he was getting into.
Yeah. So he ends up going to this lab out in the desert in Las Vegas called I think it was Area S4. Not Area 51. It's part of the compound of Area 51, but it's like 15 miles south of it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And he gets his briefings, and as he gets his briefings, he's reading shit like, "Oh, I'm about to be working on an unidentified flying object, like UFOs." He's getting all these briefings. He's reading all these shits about these advanced propulsion systems that nobody knows what it is, and they have them at the base, and they're working on them, and they're trying to study them, and they're trying to figure out how to reverse engineer them.
Whoa.
So
That's
we can use that
crazy shit,
technology.
That's nuts.
And they actually said there was 9 different aircrafts at the site, and they were all different shapes. So you know how like you think just flying saucer?
Yeah.
Mhm.
There was cubes. There was like they said there was even like triangles. Like there was a bunch of fucking just any
What the
crazy shape you
fuck?
could think of, dude. They had them for no reason. And when you have planes and objects like that, it already fucking defies aerodynamics and shit like that.
Exactly.
So that's already fucking red
It's
flag
fucking
there.
weird.
Aliens are, I think that's probably the biggest conspiracy in the world. Well, not conspiracy, like
the
thought
government
to
admitted
man. I think aliens and what happens to you after you die will always
Yup.
be the most discussed and debated things
Yeah.
of all time.
100%.
Because it's just like the 2 biggest questions out there in life when
And-
you
and
really
there's-
go down
and-
and think.
And
of
I
it.
think it's at the point where there was too many questions being asked about, I see a UFO, I seen this UFO. Like, it's happened too many times for people not to believe it.
Yeah.
Like, I guess it's such a big myth or, like, I don't know, mythological story that it's just ingrained in us, and I think everybody mostly believes it.
Technically, it's truth now, bro.
It
government-
is
the
true. They
government, yeah.
said it was true. So,
Yeah, which
and
is
I
crazy.
100% believe it, even though I don't believe everything the government
It's
says.
crazy that people aren't like freaking out about it. Like I thought it'd be a little like more, but continue with your story.
Yeah, his main job at the site, like I said, was working on propulsion systems. So inside these aircrafts, the way these aircrafts were laid out, he worked on this flying saucer one. So he worked on like your OG type of flying saucer, and he said he actually got to see the inside of it once. All right. So he said you walk into the flying saucer, and he said it was so unique because the way it was built, it was like circular, and there was no right angles anywhere in the aircraft. So imagine trying to build a fucking plane or something without having a right angle for like aerodynamics, so you can fucking fly a plane, slice through the wind and shit like that.
What the
All right?
fuck?
It was just circular. All right. So he goes inside, and the only thing inside are I think it was like 2 seats. And the walls, he had to crouch because they were like 3 feet high, and the only place he could stand up fully was in the center of the aircraft. And in the center of the aircraft was this almost like size of a basketball, and it was like not like glowing orb, but like it was kind of like orb shaped, and it was the propulsion system, and it was right in the center of the aircraft. And he has a theory that he thinks the way these aircrafts work, it's more based on where these components actually are placed in the vehicle. So not as much as like having all these fucking control panels and like all that
Buttons
type of
and shit.
Just has that one propulsion system, and it controls everything in the
That's
vehicle.
crazy.
Everything.
Wow.
And from that, his job was to study how the reactor works, and what they found with the reactor was it actually created its own gravitational wave.
Oh.
And if anybody knows anything about gravity, listening, you can't do that. Like, we don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
You can't make your own gravity wave. Gravity's just here. Like, if we drop something, we don't know how. I don't know how. Like, basically, think about this gravitational wave as like someone using the force. That's basically how it was. So
He's
if
a
I was
Jedi.
able to pull something towards me, that's pulling a gravitational wave. Something, you know. That's making my own gravitational wave. And once you can control gravity, you can control a lot of shit. Like if anyone's into Marvel, you can control time through gravity. You can control everything. You're basically a fucking god if you
Yeah,
can control it.
You're Jesus.
So he's using this reactor, and what he finds in this reactor is in the 1980s. So this is all happening in the 1980s, by the way. This is I guess it's a little background setting. I should have said that in the beginning. This is in the 1980s.
That's crazy.
So nobody knows what the fuck is actually going on. This is fucking crazy to everybody.
Yeah.
This is when sci-fi is just starting, and nobody knows what's fucking really true or not. So they discover inside this reactor, it's got this element called element 115.
Yes. Shout out to Call
And-
of Duty Zombies.
Yeah, honestly, that was
Facts,
in it was in Call of Duty
Call of
Zombies.
Duty
too.
Great
Zombies.
memories.
That's what they based it off of.
Yeah, they kind of it's kind of around that element. And this element, it's basically hydrogen, but with more neutrons in it. All right? And the way it works is, so if it's hydrogen with more neutrons in it, we have it. We can make that that fucking element on in our galaxy and Earth. But in other galaxies, it's more prevalent. So like, I forget what galaxy they said, but they said it's like super common.
Oh, like there's a lot of like.
Yeah, there's another
115.
galaxy, like I guess next to us or whatever, where this element 115 is super common, whereas in our galaxy, you can fucking rarely find it.
Oh shit.
All right, so I guess this could lead to the theory that they're traveling from other galaxies here,
Yeah.
these UFO crafts. And one day he goes inside the craft, he looks at all this shit, and he ends up seeing all this shit. He goes home, he tells his friends he's working at this lab for 6 months. And throughout these 6 months, he brings a few friends out to the desert where they do these test flights at night. He actually records some of these test flights with his friends as they're watching them, because they're watching them do all these crazy shits. And with the propulsion system, the way it allows the vehicle to move is like how everybody knows UFOs today, where you can have something right here and just pull yourself towards it. So you know how a rocket ship goes straight up, but you can see the fucking like fire and all. So well, I think it's like Isaac Newton's law of physics or whatever. Like if you go up, something's got to come down. Like a force has to push down for you to go up.
Yeah.
There's no force that has to be pushed down for these aircrafts to fly.
So it kind of
forward.
levitates.
It's basically like pulling yourself towards something instead of pushing yourself towards something. All right. And that the only way you can do that, it's anti gravity. So the only way you could do that is if you can control gravity and fucking create your own gravitational wave and pull yourself towards them. And basically, he leaves the base and he starts talking. All right, he starts coming out with information. He starts going public with it.
Big no.
And because he's thinking to himself, he's like this is the biggest fucking break in human civilization history. Like, why doesn't the world know this? Like, there's so much information that if we just put our minds together, we can figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
Another bad thing, though, that comes along with that is us, primates, us humans. Once we figure out technology like this, we're gonna most likely use it to kill each other.
Weaponize it. Yep.
Yeah, we're gonna weaponize it.
We'll
so
go crazy over
So
it.
whoever gets this technology wins. It's game over. If you can figure out how to control alien technology, you win this game of life. You fucking can do anything you want.
Yeah.
And just going back on some things that make his story so believable, there was things that he said true in the 1980s that were confirmed years later, like in the 2000s.
That's crazy.
And one of them was that gravity is a wave. He was one of the first people to come out and say that they're working with gravity. They figured out gravity is a wave, and that just got discovered in 2016. They just released those findings, and recently we thought gravity was only like particles and mass, but gravity is actually a wave.
Which is
Another thing is there's this thing called the Wilson Memo, where it's this it's like Admiral Wilson, I guess, and he's talking with this one private organization that is said to be like working on and researching UFOs and has like all these UFOs in their at their corporation in their hangars and shit. And he's talking to them like, why don't I have access to these aircrafts? Like, I'm the Admiral of the United States. I should be getting access to these aircrafts. And they're basically telling him, no, like, you're not allowed to look at this stuff.
What?
And
Like,
so what can be
shit.
so top secret that the Admiral General of the United States
can't say.
can't even fucking say it? Because if anything, he was saying in the voice memo that he should be the one running it, actually, because it's top secret information.
Yeah,
He
he's
should
a
be in
fucking-
charge.
That's crazy, bro.
And another thing he said was that when he went into these into the base, the way they like got into different doors was they used hand scanners. And back in the 1980s, dude, there's no fucking such thing as hand scanners.
That's
dude.
crazy.
So
That's
you would
advanced
go in and you would
technology.
access doors through hand scanners. You know, like you didn't even have like a card you swipe to get into a
Yeah.
door. You know what I mean? So that was just some technological shit that was way advanced that they were using all the way back in the 1980s that was hid from public. Like, I read something somewhere that the way the government leaks information is we're always like 10 years behind.
I did see that.
We're always 10 years behind. So if they're releasing something, that happened like 20 years ago.
Which
And
is
they're
scary,
just admitting it now, basically.
Yeah.
So is this guy dead?
No, he's still alive. That's the best part about it. He goes on Joe Rogan. You can
Yeah,
watch him on the Joe
I was
Rogan
about to say.
podcast. It's actually probably one of the best episodes, Joe Rogan. There's one where with just Bob Lazar, and there's one with this dude named Jeremy Corbell, I think his name is, and he's the dude who made the movie on Netflix. He's like the film director. So that's how them two know each other, and it's a really fucking great story. And I only told, even though I went into fucking detail as a long story, there's so much more to it that makes it so much more believable.
That's fucking nuts.
That is crazy.
That was a
Surprised he's not
great
dead, though.
story, bro. That was very interesting.
Thank you.
Dale,
You
man.
sound like
Okay,
you
so-
sound like my mom. Congratulations.
Daleman,
All right.
You
so,
go. now.
So I did a conspiracy. Actually, shout out to Sal because he told me he wanted to hear about this one. So I already knew a little bit about it, but I looked it up some more. So Denver Airport, it's been shrouded in conspiracy since it was built in 1995. So the first thing I'm gonna go into the part that's kind of far fetched and kind of not like believable. Kind of people, it's like a Reddit kind of thing, but.
Reddit. Shout out
So-
Reddit.
So on this side right here, I'm gonna pop it up right here. This is the murals. They're called "In Peace and Harmony with Nature." These two right here. On this side, we have ones that are called "The Children of the World Dream of Peace." So the one with the Nazi soldier is just completely crazy because, like, you're walking through an airport and you have these murals that is literally a Nazi soldier with a gun and a knife, surrounded by mothers carrying dying babies in their hands. And like children crying, ruined houses, and then the next picture is like the world just coming together and killing the Nazi soldier, which is it's just weird having that in the airport to begin with.
That is super
Just
weird.
Put,
But-
like people hugging. and
Yeah,
shit.
Wait,
like-
and where is this located in the airport?
Is it,
Don't
it,
put
like
any
literally in
art
the
in
airport.
the
Like when you're
airport.
walking, like there's I think it's like close to one of the baggage claim areas.
That's crazy how that shit's just front and center.
Yeah, like it's out in
and
the open
people
for
like
people to
know
view.
about it. Like,
Like I'll show you like the pictures are like it's out in the
Creepy.
open like
So
they're-
what's the conspiracy about?
So basically is people say that they predict how the world ends because the In Peace and Harmony with Nature starts off with 3 women laying dead in a coffin with like all different kinds of animals as gifts and a fire blazing in the back, cutting trees down. It's just a weird image that you shouldn't have in airports.
Okay.
And people just say like it's kind of like showing the end of the world. And once you see the pictures, like you'll understand how creepy and weird it is. But again, this is like the far-fetched ideas. And another one that's a little weird. It's kind of funny story, but so there's a ginormous Mustang that is in front of the airport, like huge. It's like basically a staple thing, but instead of being like a regular horse, it's dark blue with veins popping out of it, and its eyes glowed very dark red.
What the fuck?
Like, it's
Like a
like-
demon horse?
Yes, and its name is Mustang, but the community, online community, named it Blucifer because it's big blue, it has glowing red eyes.
That's a cool name.
Lucifer.
Yeah, and the crazy part about it is Luis Jimenez, I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Jimenez, probably.
He
Yeah.
was the artist and the creator of the Mustang, and a couple years before it finished, a piece of it broke off, fell on him, slit his leg artery, and he bled to death right there on the thing. So it's kind of a conspiracy that
So it's
this whole
probably
thing
got
is
bad
cursed.
souls and shit with
And
it. Yeah.
the fact that it has demon eyes, it's a blue
Mhm.
Mustang, and it killed its owner.
He
It's,
probably rides that thing at night like,
yeah, it's just a whole
yeah.
weird thing that goes together at the airport. But
I gotta see these pictures.
oh
dude.
yeah,
I
you'll
can't
see
wait
them.
to.
There's some crazy things, and none of these pictures are edited. Like these are taken from the airport. Like at Red Eyes, this is what you see when you go there,
About
which
to
is
fly to
crazy.
Yes, sir.
Denver.
Yes, sir.
It's
yes,
weird, bro.
sir.
Like, I
Airport.
want to know about like the owners of this place and like what they like, why they would even think to have anything with a Nazi on it, dude.
It's
even
weird.
In
like
today's
even
world.
if it's like everybody beating up, like
the
you said, like
yeah.
taking part in beating up, like killing the Nazi, like still like
It's just weird to have this kind of
2021.
artwork in an airport.
yeah,
Like,
really
this
weird.
is, but all right, so here's the part that I truly believe about this conspiracy. So
Yeah, give me hooks. Give
it
me
was
hooked here.
beginning to be built in 1994, and that is when the construction ended. All right, so
Wait,
but
wait, it was
1994 is when the construction was ended.
Wait, but
they-
you said that was when it was being built.
Like yes, that's when it finished, 1994.
Oh, so okay, finished in
But-
1994.
It took 16 months later and $2.5 billion over budget until they released and opened the airport.
So it was open, ready to be used, but they still
1994.
had it closed for 16 more
16
months
months.
after 1994
Yes.
because
And they
were
also
whatever,
overspent
doing
2.
whatever.
Well, this is the crazy part. So they overspent 2.5 billion, and they didn't really give anyone answers
and
as to
they're
why.
like, where the fuck did that money
exactly.
go? That's
And-
that kind of sounds like our government still.
Dude, like, and this is back in 1995, so it shows nothing changes. But
Yeah.
so the thing is, a construction worker who was working there, he said that the reason why the delay was so long was because they were instructed to place 5 multi-story buildings underneath the ground, inside of the thing.
What?
And at
Like
first
the,
you're like,
like
oh,
the Pentagon.
yeah, like basically underground buildings underneath this place.
Well,
And
it's a real
at
thing.
first you're thinking like, oh, like there's just one guy saying it. But then him and a couple others who were also construction said that they said that there is a intricate system of tunnels that is underneath the entire
Wow.
airport.
And what do they
Wow.
use those tunnels for? Do
Well,
you know?
that's what the conspiracy began off of. But the government they determined that the tunnels were built for the System Railroad. That
So
is
there
now-
are tunnels.
Yes, there is tunnels, but now they're a railroad. But the thing that makes me crazy, the railroad didn't open until 2016. The beginning of the building was 1995. So that year of what was it being used for?
Yeah,
Two-
before that.
Exactly, and they didn't say
It
anything to the public.
they probably were using it for their secret government shit, and then shit starts leaking. They're like, you know what, scratch it. We got to close this
Exactly.
operation. We're making it a fucking railroad.
And that's the thing, like 20-year gap of just emptiness, 6 feet like all these feet underground. It's crazy, and this is where it gets crazy. So when
that was
1994, when it was completed, they made a time capsule and a memorable stone they put on it. So time capsule was used for the people of Colorado in 2094. That's when they're going to open the time capsule. But below it, the sign, there's a logo on it, the Freemason logos.
Fuck the New
And
World Order.
If any of you don't know who the Freemasons were, basically stretches back throughout basically all of history. All rich, famous world leaders, they're all part of this, basically the Illuminati, this one world order secret society. Like, I can name like George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, Henry Ford, all these people were part of this. And there's still, I actually looked it up today, I looked up how to join, and there's actually one in New
You
Jersey.
looked up how to join.
There's actually one in New Jersey, and if you get 2 members of it to vouch for you, you can join, which
Wow.
is crazy. But
Wow.
back in the day, it was all like these rich world leaders and all this stuff. So this is signed on the plaque with the Freemason symbol, the names of the grand, they call them Grand Wizards. Yes, that's what they call the masters of the
Fucking,
groups.
dude, they're basically just fucking
So,
nerds.
Their name is Benjamin H. Bell Jr. and Claude W. Gray Jr. Those names are for the Freemasonry on there. They had no part of building this airport whatsoever, but they're still on this plaque that sits in the middle of the airport, congratulating them on building it. And underneath that, it's called the New World Airport Commission. And even their website, Denver Airport, says this has not been a thing. Like, this commission is not a real thing. And the government had to approve of this plaque to be put down, which makes this conspiracy about having the government underneath, like living under here, all these secret societies that are basically underneath this fucking airport, and the murals and all the paintings that go along with it, which are just crazy and weird. Like, it just feeds into the fan fiction of people like, holy shit, like this
Yeah.
could be real. And my conclusion when I was reading all this, the murals and Lucifer, that's like just kind of far-fetched ideas, but the tunnel system, the $2.5 billion overpay, 16 months waiting and no answers.
That's some government shit.
Like and the plaque, it all goes together
Mm-hmm.
and just makes it like so believable, which if you look this up, like there's hundreds and hundreds of conspiracies, like it's crazy. And
I definitely think they were using it for some shady shit, dude. Like I
Especially
don't know,
when
I don't
they
know,
first built
I
it.
don't know what they would be doing honestly in an underground
Hollow
railroad,
Earth.
but dude, you could do any.
dude,
Kevin,
imagine it
That's
connected.
such a good.
Imagine
oh my
it
God.
connected, bro.
Yo,
And
you
we
g-
won't
did you
know-
guys plan this?
Yeah.
Did you guys
Maybe.
fucking plan
Nah,
this?
nah,
they
but-
planned
They
it.
planned it.
No,
Fucking-
we actually didn't plan that.
I wish me and you could plan shit like that. Too.
Yeah, we could plan a sleepover tomorrow night at my house.
Okay, I'll be there.
But yeah, that's pretty much the story about it. It's very weird.
Sounds
very
like a
weird.
very unique place, and
It's
maybe I'll
extremely
fly
weird.
there one day and
Hey, there
go
you go.
visit Denver. Who knows?
There you go. So all right, D-Rez, go
Is
ahead.
it my turn?
You're the
Um,
last guy to go.
All right.
Speaking of the
so-
New World Order, this fucking
Oh,
guy's
yeah.
probably in it.
I have
Yeah,
nothing to
probably.
do with this.
He used to be in it.
All right, so I'm gonna talk about two conspiracies for a little bit. The second one, I want a lot of your guys' intake with it, just because it's one of the biggest in history, and I think it'd be a cool discussion. But the first one I'm gonna go into is really the first conspiracy I really ever got in, the first one that ever like really grabbed my attention. And that was the disappearance of Malaysian flight 370.
Shocked the world.
I remember that.
It really brought the world to their TV screens for a solid like week. Like, where the fuck is this plane? Like, how in the year 2016?
I think it was. It might
I think it was
2015.
earlier.
Yeah, it
I
might
I
be
don't
2015.
remember what year it was, but it definitely like shocked the world, because like planes just don't go missing in this day and age.
Never.
Yeah. They have
And
trackers on them that
So
literally follow.
basically, a little backstory to what happened. It was a normal day. Everything. The flight took off. Flight was fine. They had communications with the pilots and everything like that. And the flight was crossing from the Malaysian air traffic control
Yeah.
to
airspace.
to the Chinese air traffic, airspace. So like it was like different communications, and the last communications they had with people down on Earth was, like they were like good night to they just said good night to the people in the Malaysian one, and they were like, we're signing off, we're going to the Chinese airwaves and stuff like that. After that is where stuff gets really weird. The flight is going from Malaysia to Japan, and it's just in the middle of the flight, for some reason, it just completely just banks a turn and then just goes right back the way it came. And then for a good amount of time, it's just going in weird patterns. It's just not going anywhere. It's just going in zigzag lines and everything like that. Then it takes another turn and starts going out west. And at this time, they're like, "Where the fuck is this plane at?" Like,
Trying to contact it, all
like,
that shit.
They have they could track this plane, but nobody's answering, and like they don't like the tracking isn't very good. Like they think
It's
they
just a
know
radar
where it is.
system,
It's like a
yeah.
radar system. So then it's flying out west towards Africa, and then it flies out that direction for a little bit, and then it goes down south again, and then it just goes south, and then they end up losing all communications with the plane. And then the plane is literally untracked, and it's in the middle of the Indian Ocean, which is
I saw they
one of some of the most like desolate places in the world. And like nobody knows what happened to
I
it.
saw they
You kn-
found a part
Nobody
of it.
knows what happened
Not
to
too
it.
long ago.
They-
like a year or two ago, they found a part of it.
They found parts of it wash up on the shore
Yeah.
of
Weren't they
Madagascar
scattered too?
in
Yeah,
Africa.
like all over, like different parts. It's
They literally do not know what happened to this plane one bit. And that's my thing, because like there's been other plane disappearances before, but they always find it. They find the wreckage, and
The
it's like,
black
oh,
box.
they find the black box. They find out what happened and stuff like that. This one, it's almost
Nothing.
over 5 years later,
Still a
and we
mystery.
still do not have any knowledge of what happened on this flight. And I think there are 4 things that I've always thought, and I thought going into this, could be some conspiracy theorist reasons why the plane made a disappearance. And my first one is hackers. And you guys might think like that's a stupid one, but
I do.
I've
think
always-
that's
I do.
exactly what
No,
I'm thinking
but
right now.
I've always thought it like we live in an age in time where like hackers are so good nowadays that they could literally take over anything that they want. And, like certain hackers can.
But this is what I think, though. I think the best hackers are already working with governments.
Well, it's okay.
I think some of them.
There's obviously people who are hackers
majority.
who don't mean
Majority.
any good. And so I always thought it's so plausible that somebody could hack all the systems on
I
a
don't
plane
think
up
so.
in the sky.
I
You
do not
never
think
know,
An
so.
bro. You
engine.
don't know.
They can't hack an engine.
Well, they could hack all the controls and they could hack
I
all
just
the
don't-
electrical parts, communications, black box.
I
everything.
can't never say never anymore, but I don't know, dude.
That's far.
Somebody,
I don't
it
know.
is far fetched. And guess what?
It's
A
a
lot of
fucking
these conspiracy theories are far fetched because, in my opinion, I just think the plane fucking just fell into the
You know what,
ocean.
dude? It's weird because I think all these conspiracies so far we've been telling tonight, all leading back to Kevin's, dude. Because if you think about it, dude, that fucking plane could have disappeared into
the
the
hollow
center of
earth.
Earth.
Into the hollow.
That shit's nuts.
It could have.
Wow.
It could have because it was heading south, boom, hits the tunnel,
Gone.
gone.
Never to be heard from
Yeah.
again.
My other
Very good point.
thoughts are possibly a pilot suicide or some like the somebody who had accessibility into the cockpit, maybe the co-pilot. Being
Yo, you guys are
able
fucking childs.
being able to do something and then like doing something drastic, maybe taking their own life and taking everybody else's life as well. But this one is also far-fetched as well because they did a full background check of the pilot and the co-pilot and they found absolutely nothing. They even looked into the history of the pilot's flight simulator at his house to see if he did anything like crazy on there that would simulate him crashing a plane. There was nothing on that as well.
Hey, sometimes people just go crazy, bro.
Yeah, and that's
But
why I
plane-
think that's always a
The only
possibility.
thing is planes fly themselves for the most part.
Autopilot, yeah.
Yeah, like the pilots don't really have it. Like nowadays, they say like that's why flights are so safe because they don't even like the pilots just land the plane really, take off and land.
Yeah,
Everything
autopilot
else is
keeps it
the-
going straight.
Yeah.
Another possibility I think that might have caused the disappearance of the flight was possibly terrorists trying to overtake the flight. You never know. I mean, it's 2020. I mean, it's the 21st century.
Yeah, it is
It's
21st,
yeah.
yeah.
It's 2021.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's
We've
crazy.
been here for a while.
Yeah,
now.
dude, it's crazy.
I used to think
I
this-
really don't see how anybody could think hijacking a plane is a good idea because unless you're going to crash it into something, which in that specific area, you're in the middle of the fucking Indian Ocean. What are
Yeah.
you going to crash into?
the water.
Wherever you're going to land, you're going to get caught right away. And landing it, if you're a fucking terrorist, you're probably not even going to land it to begin with because you probably came in like 42nd out of 43rd in your flight school or some dumb shit like that. But like since 9/11, there really I feel like hasn't been a really major successful like overtaking of a plane by
yeah.
terrorists
Dude, that's
and stuff like
that's
that.
because you have to go to the fucking airport now like 2 hours ahead of time because all that security is
Oh,
fucking
security
all
is-
But
those-
I
Security's
feel like
crazy,
if
bro.
some people really want to, because some of these terrorists are very smart. Like they really do want to harm people or get vehicles that they can harm people with and do mass things that cause mass casualties and mass damage. I feel like they could easily plot on a way to do it better and like make it make it a way where they could get into the cockpit in this era and time because there's really no way you could really do it
You can't get unless,
unless-
an airplane
unless
nowadays.
you
like, it is
think of it.
impossible.
Yeah, it's literally they try to make it impossible.
Yeah, which is good. Cause
The only way would be it'd have to be an inside job.
like the
What
pilot,
if they a stewardess terrorist?
What's that?
the
like
lady who
the
brings you your drink.
stewardess, like she goes and brings like a cocktail
flight
to
attendant,
one
flight
of
attendant.
the flight
Oh.
attendant.
Yeah,
Isn't that the same thing?
I
though?
said stewardess.
it's kind of the same thing.
I don't think that's
I've
Stewardess
never
brings
heard
you
of
drinks.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it
Okay.
don't. A flight attendant.
Are they
Takes over
even?
the
Do they
plane.
even go in the cockpit?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
can. Yeah, they gotta.
The cockpit's
they gotta
usually
talk
locked.
to the
Yeah, I was
pilot.
gonna say-
You know they go in the cockpit. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
they go in the
Dude,
cockpit.
No,
if I was a pilot and I had a flight attendant, bro, come on. Bro.
I don't know, but
Well,
there's
guy flight
there's-
attendant.
Autopilot.
there's yo, co-pilot. I'm about to get topped off. Take over the plane for a quick second, Jimmy.
Take turns.
The only reason I don't believe it would be terrorists is because like
it
take
doesn't
example-
make sense.
Take example for the 9/11 attacks. Like people when they noticed their plane was getting hijacked, like they would make
Mhm.
They
phone
tried to
calls,
fight
like,
back.
and they would also make phone calls like, hey, like
Yeah.
I love you, like I don't
But
know how
are
I'm
you
gonna make it.
are you going to get cell phone service
Nah.
in the middle of the Indian
But
Ocean?
they still
Mm,
tried though, even
sure,
on the
Yeah, 'cause
9/11 flight.
You're not even getting how are you getting service that high up?
That
Like
is
even
true,
with
right.
Maybe,
9/11. So
I
I
don't
You're
guess
know.
closer to the satellite, bro.
Well, another thing was another
just
reason why I
kidding.
don't think it could be terrorists
I thought
was
you were
because
serious
you
and
were
I had to think
saying
about it.
because you were saying with the radar how they were like zigzagging on the radar and then they
Mhm.
just started heading completely south. Like that's just
Yeah.
like
That's
wacky.
a weird. Like it's
Makes
That shit's
no
wacky.
sense.
It looks
Yeah.
like it's almost like the radar is malfunctioning. It seems.
Yeah, it could honestly
Dude.
not be true. Like that radar could just be
Just
they could have
false.
just
Well,
passed to a different
which kind of
universe.
goes back to even though we were saying we thought it was stupid like hackers, but like you know what I mean? Like, but I don't. It's just hard because I think if anything, it's aliens.
And the crazy
That-
thing is, we'll never know.
That was my next one, bro. That's what I think it is. I think it's fucking aliens.
Like they
Dude, that's the
abducted
only
them?
reasonable
just-
solution.
For some reason, they were just like, yeah, fuck it. Like, you want to shoot this plane down real quick? You won't. You
Or
won't.
They
You
abducted
won't.
them
Listen,
and
ready?
they probed them all.
Ready? Listen to this. So the aliens from the Hollow Earth, right?
Okay.
They're trying to protect civilization,
Okay.
and they knew something was gonna happen with this Malaysian flight.
No way.
So they came and they took it
Wow.
They saved them.
and they saved the world because something that was gonna happen on the flight, whatever it possibly could have been, maybe the next Hitler was on there, and they took it.
They
they
stopped.
Yeah,
Sure.
what if you're
Wow.
giving these aliens too much credit? What if they're actually
It was the
evil?
only chance they had.
What if they were just having fun?
What
Like,
if they're
they were, like-
actually evil?
like they were drunk and they were like, "I dare you."
Yeah. if you think about it, think about how we act. If we had the capabilities of aliens, think about what the fucking
No,
what
that's
we would do with
that's
them.
why we don't.
Yeah.
That's, like,
Yeah.
that's why we don't. Like advanced civilization, they probably don't have emotions. Like if there was a UFO in this backyard, like
I'd be freaking the fuck
somebody
out,
would
dude.
die.
Are you
We'd
kidding me?
probably all die.
Nah, if there was a UFO, first off, there could be a UFO in this backyard because I've been being chased by one my entire life.
Maybe I'm the UFO.
But- If there was a UFO in this backyard, I would try to fly it or try to get on it.
I would run.
Well, if the aliens,
I would try to get on it.
if the aliens were nice, maybe they'd let you. But if they wanted you dead, you'd be dead.
Well, I look
Yeah,
at it
yeah.
like if they're in the backyard and I'm right there, they're gonna kill me if they want to kill me. So I might as well try to interact with them.
Well,
What if
for
we're
us three,
just-
we're getting away?
What if we're just
They're just
vicious
being patient.
murderers and
Oh.
just an absolute like disgrace to like space?
Yeah.
And
Mm.
aliens are just like they're just
look at it
watching
as
us and they're
primal.
just
Like,
trying to control us, make sure that we don't completely
Like
fucking
E.T.
kill each other.
E.T. just a
I
nice
think
guy.
that's the most like I think that's the most what
He's eating you,
He's
bro.
eating
E.T.
you.
You gotta touch him, dude.
I can't reach
He
that
has-
fucking far.
There you go.
me and Kevin touch tips.
Not the first time.
Yeah, facts. Not at all.
Hey everybody, thank you for watching. This was the conspiracy episode. We had a blast looking these up and talking about them. We want to thank you for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. You can follow us on all of our socials. You can follow us on Twitter at
Follow us on
Podcast2MyLife.
Instagram.
Yo,
You can follow us on Instagram at Podcast2MyLife. You could also follow us on YouTube
And
at
please-
the Podcast.
please
to My Life.
subscribe to YouTube and also hit the bell. Hit the bell notification so when we post videos, you'll be notified.
And comment which conspiracy theory was your favorite,
Yes.
most interesting comments about.
Or
it.
other ones that you guys like and enjoy.
Yep. that
Comment-
we'll talk about next.
Comment your Venmos in the comments, and we're gonna choose one person, and Kevin will Venmo you $50.